Every single thing that you ever lead in your life that is wrong is 100% your fault. And so that's a very exciting and important starting point. And by the way, I noticed Kate just posted in here, I'm a big feedback leader. So I love the idea of the chat being active. As a matter of fact, to just spark it off, because I need the energy and I love it. Let's go old school America Online. You know, for some of the youngsters in here, you're not gonna know what I mean by this, but ASL, age, sex, location. Give me a little context of who's in the room. Where are you? Where do you live? Just to get that flow going, because really what I wanna get that flow going with is, and please do it right now, is I wanna get the conversation flow going because I also want you to really ask these questions. And because I think that in the macro, what I'm about to talk about is very, very, oh, it's all going in the Q&A here, not in the chat. Very nice. I see. This is where the age, sex, location thing is. So it's in my Q&A, not the chat. I love it. Joe from New York gets me excited. Stephanie from Chicago, very good. Jennifer from Rochester, I love it. All right, so I'll put this over here because it's not in chat, it's in the Q&A, beautiful. So Rafa from Orlando, big shout out. Sorry, I get a little sidetracked. This is my creative style. So it's really exciting, everybody, for you to understand this truth because it's actually true. In a private enterprise, even with all the external realities, if you lose your biggest client and then have to fire everyone, well, then you allowed your biggest client to represent too big of a percentage of your company. When I started my client service business, to this day, nobody represents more than 15% of my business, just not a meaningful enough one that puts me in a vulnerable spot. Yet I see people that run client service businesses have Constellation or Nike or BMW or somebody as their biggest client. And then when they lose them, they blame everybody else except themselves. Every day, every time we land a very large client, I then basically spend all my energy on making sure that I go and land 2 to 3 other big clients to round out because I'm worried about the vulnerability. I'm worried about the vulnerability. And so, you know, when 3 people quit in the media team because the head of your media person, or 6 people in HR quit because you're head of HR, or 1 person quits because of your CFO, like you've hired all those leaders. I've hired every single person in my company, whether I've done it directly or I hired the person that hired them. I promise you, the quickest way to be excited, happy, wake up in the morning with vigor, enjoy it, not burn out, and not be anxious about these incredible ambitions that sit in all of your bodies of your next steps, professionally and personally for that matter. The number one way to be at peace is around accountability. When you go into blame game, you are vulnerable. And I couldn't, and I mean couldn't push this more. And when I see Mazza say accountability is contagious, if leaders show they're accountable, then everyone, it's absolutely true, Matt. The more accountable I've become, and I started very accountable and I just kept compounding because I reinforced things that were good and I try to work on things that weren't good. I mean, it's crazy. And by the way, people are also incredibly appreciative of an accountable leader. Even if they don't have the stomach at that point in their life to be accountable, they have much more compassion for a leader that is accountable, outwardly accountable. This is a very, very major thing that I want to start with, and I really wanted to put on everyone's radar.